Hello everyone! I am Lucy from your town. Today, I will tell you the story of the sleeping princess in the forest. Once upon a time, there was a king and queen who had no children. They longed desperately for a child. One day, as the queen was walking by the river near the palace, a fish surfaced and told her that she would give birth to a beautiful princess. Indeed, a year later, the queen became pregnant and bore a lovely daughter. The king adored his daughter so much that he decided to throw a grand celebration in her honor and invited all the fairies to the feast. There were 13 fairy women in total, but the king inadvertently failed to invite one spiteful fairy. We have to make more jam. During the feast, the invited fairies each bestowed wonderful gifts upon the princess. However, as the 12th fairy was about to give her blessing, the uninvited fairy burst in. With a look of rage, she cursed the infant princess, decreeing that on her 15th birthday, she would prick her finger on a spindle and die. Everyone was terrified at the curse. The king and queen were particularly worried. However, the 12th fairy had not yet given her blessing. She declared that the princess would not die, but would instead fall into a deep sleep for 100 years to be awoken by a prince. Despite this, the king and queen were still anxious for their daughter's well-being. Consequently, the king ordered that all the spinning wheels in the kingdom be burned. Time passed, and the princess grew into a beautiful, gentle, kind, and beloved young woman, skilled in singing and dancing. On her 15th birthday, while the king and queen were away, she was alone in the palace and felt bored. She wandered around and eventually came to an old tower. Driven by curiosity, she entered. Inside was an old woman spinning. The princess asked, "Good day. What are you doing?" The old woman replied, "I am spinning. Would you like to try?" The princess, intrigued, took hold of the spindle, but alas, she pricked her finger, bled, and fell to the ground unconscious. The curse of the fairy from 15 years ago had been fulfilled. The king and queen returned to find their daughter in a deep sleep. They were heartbroken. The king carried the princess to the most beautiful and safest room and decreed that no one should enter. The 12th fairy, learning of this, arrived at the palace in an instant. The king and queen begged her to wake the princess at any cost. The fairy then waved her magic wand, and the entire kingdom fell into a deep sleep. Only the king and queen had to leave. As they stepped out of the palace gates, thick, sharp thorns grew around it. The once lively palace became eerily silent. Before long, rumors of the beautiful sleeping princess spread, and she became known as Sleeping Beauty. Many princes from different lands attempted to reach the princess, but were ensnared by the thorny hedge and fled in fear. 100 years swiftly passed until one day, a prince from a neighboring country was hunting in the forest. Intrigued by the mysterious palace, he inquired about it and learned of the legend of the Sleeping Beauty. Deciding to see for himself, he approached the bramble-covered palace. Suddenly, the thorns parted as if to welcome him. The prince entered the palace. It was incredibly silent. He saw many people and small animals in deep slumber, their faces still rosy with life. At last, he found the beautiful princess and placing a kiss on her lips, awakened her. The princess looked at the prince intently as her eyes opened. With the princess's awakening, everyone and every creature in the palace also awoke and continued their tasks as if no time had passed. The very next day, their wedding was celebrated, and they lived happily ever after. I'm Lucy from the town. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more stories.